Too many black bodies falling. Come on, brothers, love one another. Put down the gun. Let's go. Any place, anytime, anyone can get it. Bust that gap, pills of water when I wet it. I owe niggas shots like doctors paid on credit. The white good K kid who wanna catch it. Nigga claim gangsta, let me see him rep it. Dog want a bone, come fight or fetch it. It's hectic, we caught him heading for the exit. Cat straight pussy, hold spot like a leopard. I come with crook and flail the flock, need a shepherd. Hang with hooks and nails, the Glock, spray like pepper. Clear out the block, then moving like a settler. Chop down trees, make it rain like the weather. They call me king of rock, I'm tougher than leather. With the heavy clip, trigger light as a feather. With the HK, I'm like Koch with the heckler. Play my pawns like chess, this ain't checkers. I'm reckless, and you caught up in the nexus. New Jersey drive my dude about the Lexus. Gun real big like I get them shits from Texas. Hollow tip, hollow out, core solo plexus. My nigga reckless, he's living reckless. Scratch your itch hill, snatch your necklace, a hooligan and wretched. Outcast like a leper. Nightfall hit, he get it quick like a leopard. In the jungle, makes you humble. Where seas don't wave and bees don't fumble. Put up, player, I hear it off and tumble. I suggest y'all niggas let me before y'all niggas stumble. Any place, anytime, anyone can do it. Putting bodies in the casket, family's gonna view it. Mother carried flowers, father never knew it. Wasn't there to raise the baby, and the block won't excuse it. YG claimed blood, OG said prove it. Try to push weight, but little nigga couldn't move it. First he starts to use it, then he starts to lose it. Now blood on his door like the little nigga Jewish. Caught up on the block, twisted like a Rubik's. Bricks weighing grams, caskets measure cubits. Bodies keep dropping, families going through it. Brothers on the run like Jesse, you can do it. Living fast and furious with guns in the Buick. Everybody stick them up, and I ain't trying to glue it. Lawyers out to sue it. The courts won't excuse it. Black body in the chair, and the judge said executed. Think this shit is glorious? My nigga, don't be stupid. Mother broken hearted, but the shooter wasn't Cupid. Evil goes around like the devil chopped his fooded. 3-6 mafia like Bishop started juicing. My nigga reckless, he's living reckless. Scratch your itch hill, snatch your necklace, a hooligan and wretched. Outcast like a leper. Nightfall hit, he get it quick like a leopard. In the jungle, makes you humble. Where seas don't wave and bees don't fumble. Put up, player, I hear it off and tumble. I suggest y'all niggas let me before y'all niggas stumble. Reckless. My nigga reckless. He's living reckless. Yeah, man. Big shout out to Turtle Gang for the video. Big shout out to Ron Lawrence for producing that track. All Black Lives Matter, by the way.
Imagine being able to build.
Get rid of that right, man. There we go. Yeah, big shout out to Ron Lawrence for producing the track. Big shout out to DJ Taj, DJ June, and my homie Cool Reek, Rob Coles for the cameo appearances in Reckless. Also, big shout out to Mars for assisting in the production of that. My boy Cash from Newark, New Jersey. Of course, we shot that joint in Newark. What up, Trav? My homie Trav, always representing, always in the building. Share the stream, Trav. All my visitors that's watching, please like, subscribe, share this stream, bring people into the conversation. We have a very special guest lined up for the 9 o'clock hour. My brother Sharif Bey from the Moorish Science Temple. He's from Syracuse, New York, but he's international these days, spreading the message of the great legendary Noble Drew Ali and his organizing of our people into nationhood. So we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk some politics. We're gonna talk about international affairs and what have you. Get into a bunch of that comments. He's a martial arts practitioner, a master kung fu sensei. We're gonna talk about martial arts and how important that is when it comes to discipline and building and keeping the mind right. Highs, what up? I see you. Peace. Salute. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. Share the stream so we could bring people into this information that we're gonna share. Shameless plug. Of course, you guys see me wearing Madism, so it's only right that I bring you over to Madism Inc., which is the website that we've set up to keep the Madism going, representing cannabis and hip hop culture. All we do is spark Madism. Big shout out to Cool Brands. Big shout out to Higher Frequency. But yeah, all we do is spark Madism over at madisiminc.com. We got the long sleeves, the short sleeves, the sweatshirts. All we do is spark Madism. Of course, we got the baseball tees. We got the muscle shirts. We got the foil shirts. And like we like to remind people, don't sell your ass. Do not sell your ass. You gotta be careful out there, Gotta maintain integrity. Gotta stay hold of who you are as a human being. And your soul is worth more than money. So don't sell your ass. That said, we're gonna get into some current affairs. We're gonna talk about what's going on in the world. I don't know if you caught recently, but the president's wife, Melania, she took the stage the other day to distance herself from the goings that have been going on in regards to Epstein, controversy surrounding Epstein, her husband, Donald Trump, the current president, and everybody else that's been outed through the Epstein files, through the release of the Epstein files. And of course, her name has been, deeply trenched in the allegations regarding, rape, pedophilia, the mistreatment of women, boys, children, girls. It's crazy out there. And she just wanted to clear her name, so she had a lot to say. But let's hear it straight from the horse's mouth. No disrespect to the First Lady.
Astonishing moment, First Lady Melania Trump making a surprise statement, coming before the cameras to say she has never had a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
The lies linking me with the disgraceful Jeffrey Epstein need to end today. The individuals lying about me are devoid of ethical standards, humility, and respect.
This morning, it's unclear what prompted the rare rebuke from the First Lady, but sources say that some White House officials were surprised, and it's also unclear if the president knew about the topic of the remarks. The First Lady was photographed in the early 2000s alongside her husband, Epstein, and convicted co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell, but she denies they were ever friends.
I never been friends with Epstein. Donald and I were invited to the same parties as Epstein from time to time.
And her name does appear in the Justice Department's Epstein files. An email exchange from October 2002 is signed with Love Melania, stating, "Dear G, how are you? Nice story about JE and NY Mag. You look great on the picture. I know you're very busy flying all over the world. How was Palm Beach? I cannot wait to go down. Give me a call when you're back in NY. Have a great time." Maxwell responding, saying, "Sweet P, thanks for the message. Actually, plans changed again and I am now back on my way to NY." Adding, "I will try and call though." The First Lady insists that back and forth was nothing more than casual.
My email reply to Maxwell cannot be categorized as anything more than casual correspondence.
Yeah, so, First Lady Melania Trump introduced allegedly to Donald Trump via Jeffrey Epstein and another man named Paolo Zampoli. So there's some speculation as to what prompted Melania to make that statement, which was quite odd, historic, if you think about other first ladies and their role as First Lady of the United States, President of the United States of America. We've never seen a First Lady come forward to organize her own press conference to deny allegations of improper relationships with their husbands' friends. Of course, we remember Bill Clinton getting topped off under the desk via Monica Lewinsky and how that whole thing went down. And there was some questions about Hillary Clinton's knowledge of the relationship between her her husband, Bill Clinton, the then president, and Monica Lewinsky. And then, outside of that, you really don't hear or see much of the first ladies in their role as first lady. There was a lot of attention around Michelle Obama, wife of Barack Obama. But people criticized her for the way she dressed, I guess, or the health and wellness program she put into place. That's about as controversial as it got with Michelle Obama. But here we see with Melania Trump, her being linked to sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein and the other folks. And when you get into the Epstein files, it's quite sickening. Her being attached to all of that has prompted her to step forward to distance herself. Now, there's also some other ideas surrounding, why she might be doing this now. There's a woman named Amanda Ungaro, who is the girlfriend, or was the girlfriend, the mother of Paolo Zampali's son, teenage son. And there's some speculation that this young lady, Amanda Ungaro, was about to drop some bombs on everything because she was deported by ICE back to Brazil and separated from her son. So people are speculating that the release of a book that's supposed to be coming out implicates Melania's, let me get to this, implicates Melania, more than Melania might be letting on. So let's get into that right fast.
Melania Trump walked up to a podium this week and did something no First Lady has ever done. She denied knowing Jeffrey Epstein, unprompted, unscheduled, a surprise press conference, just to say, I was not his victim. I was not his participant.
The lies linking me with the disgraceful Jeffrey Epstein need to end today. I never been friends with Epstein. Donald and I were invited to the same parties as Epstein from time to time, since overlapping in social circles is common in New York City and Palm Beach. To be clear, I never had a relationship with Epstein or his accomplice, Maxwell. My email reply to Maxwell cannot be categorized as anything more than casual correspondence. My polite reply to her email doesn't amount to anything more than a trivial note. I call on Congress to provide the women who have been victimized by Epstein with a public hearing specifically centered around the survivors. Give these victims their opportunity to testify under oath in front of Congress with the power of sworn testimony. Each and every woman should have her day to tell her story in public if she wishes, and then her testimony should be permanently entered into the congressional record.
Washington didn't know what to make of it, but within hours, a verified account on X bearing the name Amanda Ungaro fired back with a public threat, claiming 20 years of proximity to the First Lady and promising to, quote, expose everything she knows. You haven't heard of Amanda Ungaro, but she says she's been in the room for 20 years. She's Brazilian, a model, and she was pulled into the American dream the same way Melania was by the same man, Paolo Zampoli.
Wow, that's deep. This woman, Amanda Ungaro, being in close proximity to the first lady and the president, Donald Trump, exposing or threatening to expose everything. That's deep. That's like groundbreaking news. We've been hearing about these Epstein files for years. We've known Epstein as a very powerful person, in Donald Trump's circle in West Palm Beach in New York City. Of course, Donald Trump is mentioned more times in the Epstein files than Jesus is in the Bible. It's crazy. We got Donald Trump in the flight logs. We got Donald Trump on Epstein Island, and he's denied everything. He's pushed back. They were going to release the files, and they held on to the files, and then we got 3 million files, which were only half the files of the 6 million, and there's so much more that we have to learn about Trump's involvement and other powerful people's involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. And, to have Melania come out and, distance herself. And then this woman, Amanda Ungaro, promising to, set the record straight. Let's just get some information on who this lady is. Well, let me, first talk about her husband, Paolo Zampoli, or her boyfriend. Is an Italian-American businessman, former modeling agent and diplomat who currently serves as the U.S. Special Envoy for Global Partnerships. He is most notably recognized as the person who introduced Donald Trump to Melania Knauss, now Melania Trump, at a New York Fashion Week party in 1998. His career and political roles, modeling and real estate. In the 1990s, Zampoli founded ID Model Management in New York. He later transitioned into luxury real estate, serving as a director of international development for the Trump Organization. Diplomatic appointment. Zampoli has held various diplomatic titles, including representing Dominica and Grenada at the United Nations. In March 2025, during the second Trump administration, he was officially appointed as a special envoy for global partnerships. In 2020, he was appointed to the Board of Trustees of the Kennedy Center, where he has advocated for high-end amenities like a Cipriani restaurant and marina. It's crazy because a lot of Donald Trump's appointments are to people who don't have the qualifications, it seems, to really hold the positions that they have. This guy is a model agent, talent scout, and now he's special envoy to Dominica and Grenada, and he's representing countries at the United Nations for the United States of America. It's just, it's real suspect, how people get these jobs, be it Pete Hegseth, or now fired Pam Bondi, now fired Christy Nome. All these folks get these appointments and they don't seem to be qualified. So it leads you to believe there's some other type of qualifications that people are getting chosen for. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe they got some dirt, maybe they got some secrets, maybe they know how to hook up to get down. So Trump says, you know what, we're gonna put you in place over here and make sure you can make sure the get down gets getting down when we need to get down. And it's interesting, But over to Amanda Ungaro. Let me see. Let me find out. Let me see. In March and April 2026, explosive allegations emerged that Paolo Zampoli, a White House envoy and close friend of the Trumps, leveraged his political influence to have his former partner, Brazilian model Amanda Ungaro, detained by ICE and deported to Brazil amid a bitter custody battle over their teenage son. The alleged interference, investigative reports from the New York Times and El País alleged that in June 2025, Zampoli contacted a senior ICE official, David Venturella, while Ungaro was being held in Miami on fraud charges. Zampoli reportedly requested she remain jailed to help him win custody over their son. The Department of Homeland Security and ICE maintained that Ungaro was deported because her visa had been expired for several years, and she faced local fraud charges related to an unlicensed cosmetic clinic. DHS firmly denied that her removal was due to political favors. The custody dispute. Ungaro claims that the arrest was a corrupt setup designed to remove her son from the country so Zampoli could seize their 16-year-old son, who eventually returned to Zampoli's care after her deportation. Zampoli is widely known as the modeling agent who introduced Donald Trump to Melania in 1998. A spokesperson for Melania Trump stated that the First Lady had no knowledge of or involvement in the personal affairs of Zampoli and Ungaro. So that's pretty much the skinny. I would say it sounds extremely suspect that Paolo wouldn't use his connections to Donald Trump and Donald Trump's direction of ICE to make things happen in a certain way, whether it would be to protect his partner or to have his partner deported. It just, to me, doesn't make sense that Paolo, being this important to the president, to be appointed in the positions that he's been appointed to, not to have enough leverage to make sure his wife, his partner, was protected and not hung up in, her visa situation being run. I'm sure they could have made exceptions. I'm sure they could have created a scenario where she was allowed to stay, and no one would have been the wiser of it. So her being deported, sent back to Brazil, separated from her son, has the battery in her back, and she's promising retribution by exposing the connections of Donald Trump and Melania to the Epstein files. Interesting. Now, I began our show with talking about Melania, Trump, Paolo, Amanda. One, because it's a hot topic in the news right now, because it has so many implications for our domestic situation, but then our international situation. We know that there's an ongoing conflict right now with Iran. Some would call it a war. Donald Trump and them says it's just an exercise. I don't know what they're calling it these days, but it seems as if they're losing. Gas prices are up, and we're looking at higher prices on the grocery shelves because of most of the world's fertilizer comes from that region and can't get through the Straits of Hormuz. So many industries depend on, gas prices being consistent, or the gas and oil industry not being as turbulent as it is. And we're going to see the effects of that on the shelves. But, watching what happens with Melania, Paolo, Amanda, and of course, Trump, and then making the connection to what's going on in hip hop culture right now with Africa Bambaataa. Rest in peace, Africa Bambaataa. He passed away a couple days ago. There have been some, very disturbing allegations connected to Bambaataa over the last at least 10 years. And as we dig further into the story, it seems as if these allegations and these suspicions have existed prior to 2016, when Ronald Savage, aka Bee Stinger, a former member of the Universal Zulu Nation, came forward with allegations claiming that Bambaataa sexually assaulted him when he was 15. Of course, we also know about Hassan Campbell, who also, claims that he was sexually assaulted by Bambaataa, and has, detailed stories about their interactions when he too was a teenager, when he was young, an impressionable teenager trying to, make his way through the ranks of the Universal Zulu Nation. And, a lot of folks have distanced themselves from Bambaataa. A lot of folks have distanced themselves from the Zulu Nation, understandably so. Myself, of course, through my connections with KRS-One, I've had relationships with the Universal Zulu Nation. I had never been an official member. I had never joined a chapter, but had gotten a lot of respect from many of the Zulu kings and queens and the people who make up the Zulu Nation, not just in New York, New Jersey, but internationally around the world. I've gotten a certain level of respect because of my relationship to KRS-One. When I found out about the incidents involving BAM in 2016, I distanced myself from, Bambaataa, totally distanced myself from Bambaataa and anyone in his close inner circle, though I still maintain friendships with Muhammad Islam, who's the head of security for the Universal Zulu Nation, and some some of my other friends, comrades, associates who are still a part of the Zulu Nation. I had an interview with Muhammad Islam a month or two ago. You can check it on the HAKIM Green Show. Go up on the Madism channel, and you can search it. Muhammad Islam on the HAKIM Green Show, and we get into the allegations. We get into the controversy around Bam's alleged pedophilia, sexual predation, and it's an interesting conversation. You should check it out. I posed the question to Muhammad Islam about, Bam being accused of, sexual predation, rape, pedophilia, and how does that look with the Universal Zulu Nation? And my take was, until Bam came out himself and publicly addressed the allegations, to either put them to rest or offer his apologies and whatever restitution to the victims, this was going to hang over the entire organization's head. And I asked Muhammad how he felt about it, and you can see what his reaction was in that interview. But what I did do is I did some digging, and I found an interview by Ronald Savage, aka Beestinger, who was the person who made the allegations against Bam. It's a longer interview. I just want to play a clip on how he felt about the organization, the Zulu Nation, the Universal Zulu Nation, and how we should treat them going forward. And here we go. Let's get into it. I think it's important to hear his take on it and his stance, since he was the one who was violated.
Anything about your parents or your dad or?
I just want to be able to, speak about the Zulu Nation, if I can. I'm from the Zulu Nation. I grew up in hip hop. Coming from a prodigy of hip hop, and I would say a prodigy of DJ Jazzy J. The Zulu Nation made me who I am today, knowing the history of hip hop and being able to contribute an alternative to people wanting to do bad things outside. We had hip hop, and it would be unfair to myself to hold the entire Zulu Nation accountable for, what has taken place, because that would be totally unfair, because it's a lot of people that did not know. And then you have a lot of good people in the Zulu Nation. You have a lot of entertainers who are in the Zulu Nation who had absolutely no knowledge of what was going on. Like Queen Latifah, LL Cool J, so many names to mention, and that would be totally unfair to them to sit there and categorize the whole Zulu Nation in a whole. And that's something that I cannot co-sign, because it's not fair to them. At the same time, it's like a catch-22, because there are people that knew. When I say people that knew, right, I cannot sit there and say that they knew that things were being taken place with underage kids, because I don't know that. You know what I'm saying? I can assume. But when I'm saying that they knew, when I'm speaking about is that they knew that this man liked the same sex. That's not a secret. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I said, it would be just unfair to characterize the whole Zulu Nation in a bunch. And I do take my hat off to members who had left the Zulu Nation, and I definitely salute them for that. And it's okay to start your own organizations and stuff like that, but at the same time, I do know, like, for some people, it's hard to believe. For some people, this is like a family to them, and this is like the only family that they have. A lot of people grew up with just friends being Zulus. You understand what I'm saying? And it's just would be unfair to characterize all of them in the same nutshell, because I have a lot of friends that's in the Zulu Nation that did not know nothing.
Yeah, that's deep. That is really deep. First of all, I want to salute Ronald Savage for going public and exposing the deepest, darkest secrets in his life. To be able to, say what happened to him, and then knowing that there's going to be a backlash because, when we talk about hip hop culture and Bambaataa, that's like, to use a metaphor, the top of the pyramid, like literally Bambaataa is the top of the pyramid in terms of the culture. When we talk about hip hop culture as a culture, Africa Bambaataa gave it structure. Of course, these elements have no beginning. We've always been rapping. We've always been what we now call breakdancing, or expressing ourselves through dance. We've always been, graffiti art predates 1973. Expressing ourselves through the graphic art forms has been around since the Egyptian pyramids. We know that, even before that. So, hip hop didn't begin in 1973, 74, 75, 76. And I say those 4 years. Of course, Kool Herc threw the party in 1973. We celebrate the 50th anniversary of the birth of hip hop in 2023 as the 50th anniversary. And then the Zulu Nation gets started shortly thereafter in 74, 75, 76. I'm not sure the exact date, the exact time, but in and around there. And Bambaataa, being a former Black Spade, was able to organize the street gangs in New York City, in the Bronx at the time, under one roof in order to quell the gang violence that was prevalent in New York at the time. And during those times, it was very extremely vicious. And we're going to talk about more of that with our guest when he comes on. He's from the Bronx. He grew up during this time, so I want him to kind of explain the conditions that people were coming up in. But that said, to have someone young, I'm talking about Bam was a teenager, late teens, early 20s at the most, probably late, 16, 17, 18, with the forethought of creating an organization where other organizations can kind of put their colors down, put their flags down, stop the violence, and pick up the arts, pick up the dance, pick up the MCing, pick up the DJing, pick up these other creative tools to express themselves, save lives. It saved lives, not just in New York City, but of course, Jersey, where I'm from, and then across the country and around the world, being a part of this organization called the Universal Zulu Nation, where knowledge was at the forefront of the organization, knowledge of self and understanding knowledge of self and spiritual concepts, philosophical concepts, and ideas that were being introduced to young people, that they should have been getting in school. But we know, the 70s was rough. New York City had defunded its school system, actually was bankrupt. They were cutting programs left and right. The local community centers were closing down. It was very hectic, reckless time in New York City in the 70s. So for him to have the forethought to build something like that doesn't just take forethought and an idea, but you have to have force behind you, because you are literally building with gang members, murderers, killers, robbers. You're dealing with the worst of the worst of the worst. So you kind of got to have muscle. You got to have enforcement. You got to be able to, if this is what the law is, you got to be able to lay the law down to really mitigate the environment, navigate the environment. And Bam was just that. He was not just, a person with, some great ideas, but he had muscle in the street. He was well respected in the street. So, it's a very unfortunate situation. The allegations that are attached to Africa Bambaataa. He passed away a couple of days ago. He can't be written out of history. And that's a good thing, and it's a bad thing. It's a good thing because of what he left behind in terms of the Zulu Nation and hip hop culture. It's a bad thing because of what he left behind in the way of rape allegations, pedophilia, and what have you. And, it's crazy. So in talking about, Epstein, Donald Trump, Melania, if we're going to hold leadership accountable, we have to hold all leadership accountable. And I know there are people who have this idea that, leaders aren't supposed to be held to account. Like they get a pass. Like we're not supposed. And I totally disagree with that. If leaders can't be held accountable, then they can't lead. And we have to do a better job in holding people to account. That don't mean you can't contribute. That doesn't mean you can't play your part. But we need to address poor behavior early, fast, and hard. To get people out of a position where later on down the line they jeopardize the reputation of the very thing they're looking to create. And that's kind of what's happened with the Universal Zulu Nation. I appreciate B. Stinger, saying, hey, listen, he doesn't want to hold the entire organization accountable because everybody didn't know. Most people didn't know. Unfortunately, there were many of the leadership that did know, were aware, and, did nothing, said nothing, kind of turned a blind eye to what was happening. And, we need to look at those people like, where were you? Why didn't you do anything? Why didn't you say anything? And there are answers for that. And there's some hard answers for that. And, a lot of it deals with, not wanting to be checked by the powers that be. I get attacked on social media because of my connection to KRS-One, and people go, well, how come you didn't do so and so? Like, first of all, I didn't know. One. Two, the thing becomes, well, how come you don't do that? Like, if you got, that much animosity toward Bambaataa, you should go check Bambaataa while he was still living. He's no longer here with us. But, it's easy to hop on social media and say what an individual should and shouldn't do. It's much harder, to, be that voice of reason in real time and check people in real time, So I'm sure we'll be having this conversation for a long time, because Bambaataa left this planet with so many things unresolved. But so is life, that's life. Life be life in, and we got to pick up the pieces and move forward. We just have to do a better job in how we assign leadership roles to people and who gets to stand in those places. And hopefully this serves as a lesson for us to move forward in the right direction. That said, my guest has entered the building. And like I said before, it's somebody from the Bronx. So we want to get into that conversation. But, he represents the Moors, the Moorish Science Temple, I think. Because you got, so many different versions of this movement that you need to represent it right and exact. So I'm going to let the brother let us know what he represents. Brother Sharif Bey, what's up, my guy?
Yes, sir. What's good with you, bro?
Salute. Yes, sir.
Happy to be back. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Well, I had you on Madison TV, so it was a different, technically a different platform, but we still do what we do.
For sure.
We do represent hip hop, which is peace, love, unity, and safely having
fun. That's a fact, bro.
And that's something that we borrowed from Africa Bambaataa. Of course, 24 Hours of Peace is an organization that I helped create. It's a annual festival that happens in Newark, New Jersey.
Shout out to Newark, New Jersey.
Yes. Shout out to Newark, New Jersey. It was us looking to utilize hip hop in a positive sense.
Yes, sir.
To push peace, love, unity, and safely having fun.
Well, that's important that you say that, the having fun and the safely having fun, because we all know, hip hop grew out of the ashes of the 60s and the 70s, gang culture in New York. So yeah, having fun, right? In other words, that's a reformation of breaking. Right? We say breaking now, especially the generations now, they hear the word breaking, they're thinking dancing. Nah, that was the slang word for crashing out in the 70s. So when they said B-boys, he's breaking, that means, he's acting up.
He's acting up.
Yeah.
Wow. Our culture was born in the street.
For sure.
It's a reflection of street culture.
Yes.
And we talking about street culture in the 60s and the 70s. Yes. And you bring up the term breaking and how breaking was reappropriated to mean something else than it originally meant, breaking somebody's back, breaking somebody's head, breaking somebody's arm, breaking somebody's leg.
For sure.
And then even the form of breakdancing being battle oriented with up rocking, looking like, people fighting, but not fighting.
Dancing. Looking like Kung Fu theater.
Looking like Kung Fu theater. And we're going to get into all of that too. Oh my God, we got a lot to talk about. But even in terms of like the word chill and ski and dope and, all these different terminologies that we borrowed from street culture, drug culture, gang culture, pimp and hoe culture.
Yes.
Because that's what we knew. That's what we knew. The founders of our culture knew. That's what they were born. Can you talk to that? Because you're from the Bronx. So you can kind of give us a sense of what was going on as you were coming up as a young person.
Well, I was born out west. I was born in Long Beach, California.
Okay, damn.
And I came to New York to live with my father at age 4. Right. And so, it's, I came in on the tail end, of when the gang culture started to, by way of the Spades switching over to, Zulu Nation, right? I can't. That's my era, so to speak. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we were like, what to say, 8, 9, 10.
Younger than that, like 5, 6.
Okay.
Like 5, 6. But of course, in that time, if you were in that area, you just by proxy, you were a hip hop baby.
Now, what part are you from specifically?
Gun Hill.
Oh, Gun Hill Road.
Yeah, Gun Hill area. Wayne Avenue, right behind Montefiore Hospital.
Oh wow. Okay, that's up north.
Yep.
Up in the north. It was kind of nice up there, though.
Yeah, it wasn't too crazy.
You wasn't in the trenches like that.
Nah.
Yeah, no. I actually lived on Fenton and Boston Road, me and the wife, for a couple years in the Bronx. And that's not as far north as what you're talking about. But
right.
Gun Hill Road was my stop, the 5 and the 2 right there.
Yeah, the last time I lived in the Bronx, or the last spot I lived in the BX was on Dyer Avenue. Was the Dyer Avenue stop, just off Dyer Avenue, DeWitt Place.
Okay,
that was Dyer Avenue. That was like,
and that's the hood.
Way up. You know what I'm saying? Way up. Like way up.
Okay.
So yeah. It was over by we were near Pelham Bay Diner. I was near Pelham Bay Diner.
Okay.
Old school. Yeah, it's not there anymore. But yeah. So, I mean, to us, it was just, hip hop was just what we did. You know what I'm saying? It was just what we did. I was the one thing, as a lot of people know, I do martial arts. You see, I do martial arts. I've been a lifelong martial artist. But the one thing I was doing longer than martial arts was art, drawing. So that was the aspect of hip hop. We all dabbled in all the
elements.
Right. All the elements, but there was a focus. And that was that was part of my focus. That's how I got into school at Syracuse University.
Wow.
Shout out to my brother Brian Gadry, aka Picasso, right?
He had to be nice.
Yeah. So this is that was my main expression of hip hop culture, was through art. Was the spray can demonstration. You know what I'm saying?
Got you.
Yeah.
So, all right, how old were you when you was outside though? Like when you was, when you left the North Bronx and you came downtown, you got to experience maybe the
15, 16,
edgier parts of the culture.
15, 16.
15, 16.
Yeah.
Around what year? You talking about? That's like 83, 84, 82, 83, 84, something like that?
By 82.
By 82, okay.
Yeah, like 82.
Hip hop really started exploding at that point.
What? Yeah, and we were, bro. It's like for instance, in graffiti culture, anybody involved in graffiti culture or knows about it at that time period, the big thing was what we call getting up. You know what I'm saying? Getting known, getting your work out, people knowing who you were. And that was the cool thing about that. It was like people knew who you were, or we call it getting up or getting fame. People knew who you were long before they knew your face. They knew your name, they knew your tag name. You see what I'm saying? They knew your style, and so hip hop was like that in that sense, in the largest sense. It was like, wait a minute, this is just something that we were kind of cool with. It was like a neighborhood thing. It was like and now all of a sudden it's exploding all over the world.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that was, and so we felt like, wow, we're really on the map. You know what I mean? It's kind of like how, to quote KRS, from around the way to around the world.
Yeah.
And so it was around that time period where we were really starting to realize, oh wow, this thing is bigger than just some neighborhood thing that we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No social media, no Instagram, no TikTok, no Facebook. There's none of that. Matter of fact, there was no cable. There was no,
Bro, for us, the train yards was that. The layups was that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
When you say layup, what do you mean?
Where they park the trains, bro. The trains. Yeah, the layups. That's people would acquire keys and.
Well, I want to talk about that because it's in this world we live in today. Everything is so accessible and instantaneous.
Right.
It's everybody's got it in their hand at the flick of a button. You could just da, and then you can become something, go viral. You're worldwide like that.
Right.
Where back then, you had to actually put in the work to. Bro, you had to. The work was illegal.
So, like even with DJ culture, right? What did the DJ treasure most was his record collection.
DJ Chuck Chillout's in the building, by the way.
Oh wow!
Shout out to him. Yeah.
Salute.
Yeah.
So, your record collection, your break collection. You know what I'm saying? That was like like trade secrets, but you had to know what record stores to go to. You had to know. I mean, there was a real subculture to that. It was the same thing with graffiti. It was like going down to Chinatown on Canal Street, going to the art. I won't name the art store, and you rack up. You rack up. You know what I'm saying?
When you say rack up, you go in there and you go boost spray paint cans. You go steal them. You go in there with a big, long goose down jacket and you just put them in your sleeves. You rack up.
Yes. Yo, all right. Here's a jewel out there all the old school graffiti artists know exactly what I'm talking about. When we start talking about speed stick markers, how in school you steal the chalk erasers.
Uh-huh.
And we split the chalk erasers, and you know the deodorant, speed stick deodorants.
Yeah.
We mix our own inks and make our own markers, like big thick markers, and mark on the and tag up the lights in the trains, bro.
Now we talking about, you know, in the 70s and the 80s when you get on a New York City subway train and every inch of the train got marker on it.
Bro.
Right.
Yeah.
And it, you know, this is young people looking to make a name for themselves.
Straight like
leave
that,
their
bro.
mark on the world. I was here.
Yes.
And get fame. You know,
exactly.
You know, given that now we got Instagram, we got TikTok, we can go viral.
You can go viral thumb boxing.
Yeah.
You'll never have to come outside.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. Hip hop was outside.
Yeah.
It was 100% outside, bro. You really had to be in the mix. Peace and knowledge born of law. I see him.
You know, you talking about, you know, getting access to the train yards, having to pick a lock or climb a fence, or the danger
having to fend off other rival crews or run from rival crews.
Not to mention the police.
We talking about Mayor Koch days. When he was waging war against urban art.
Yeah, and all of this is important because it's like the commitment that you had to make to live the culture.
Brother.
The commitment, you had to be committed to it. You had to put your life at risk. You know, put your life on the line for something that wasn't going to pay you. You weren't going to get paid to do this.
Talk about that, brother. It was purely love. You know, shout out to my brother. You know, he passed away unexpectedly from a heart attack. DJ 2 Swell. Swell taught me pretty much everything there was to know about the graffiti culture. You know, and Swell. All right, I'm gonna take you back. Swell was went to school with Father MC. Hold on, I'm gonna take you back again. Swell used to carry crates for Divine Sounds.
Wow, Divine Sounds.
Yeah. He used to carry record crates for Divine Sounds. Wow. That's how he got on the DJing. And then later producing.
Crazy.
Yeah,
Crazy.
Bro.
Yeah, like, you know, we talk because, you know, the whole Bambaataa conversation, which is something I want to get into later.
Sure.
When we talk about, you know, just what this culture was born out of, the love of the culture, the dedication to the culture, you know, doing things with no promise of money. You know, we hear of artists who, you know, go broke, you know, they put their music out, they put their art out, their deep, whatever, but they spend their lives giving to the culture, and the culture doesn't give back.
Right.
And it is because of the love, the appreciation. Okay.
Roses grow out the dirt. You know what I'm saying? We have a saying in the Moorish science of America, even in in the worst, the wise find the means of good. That's hip hop. Something that literally took over the world culturally. Came out, bro.
That he said about creating good out of evil. What did you said? Something like with all so much
poison out of we turn poison into medicine.
Poison into medicine.
Yeah.
Like what the tools that were given us were really for our destruction.
Come on, look what we did with it.
Look what
we did with it. That's called. I was on. Listen, I did a live earlier talking about alchemy and other things like that. That's alchemy, the science of transmutation, turning lead into gold. That's what we did. That's what happened. Hip hop is a result of that. Hip hop is purely American and purely us simultaneously. How about that?
Well, break that down. Go a little deeper.
Okay, so our people, the people identified in American society as Black, Negro, colored, whatever, right? We grew up socially and politically and economically disenfranchised in American society. We contribute, but don't reap the full benefits of Americanization, right?
Yes, sir.
And in the midst of that, we created something that took over the world, bro. When you see words like "dis" and phrases like "word is bond" in the Wall Street Journal,
yeah, like American English vernacular,
correct.
Where it is so embedded in Black people lingo, like Black and brown people's lingo. Our effect on American culture. I always said that if it wasn't for hip hop culture, the American economy would have crashed in the 80s.
What?
In the 90s, we kept, even through all the hard times we're experiencing right now.
Yes,
we've been kept from it because of hip hop.
We've been kept from it because of hip hop, bro. Hip hop became a cultural arc to save us from the flood of negative propaganda that we grew up in.
Yeah.
That we grew up in.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And no one can take the credit for it. No one else. Now, sure, the commercialization, it's been, in some respects hijacked from the professional side of things, the corporate side of things. Okay, fine. But nobody can deny that this came from the collective brain trust of our people in America. No one can deny that.
Wow. All right, we're gonna shift gears a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Because there's been conversations of division within hip hop. So when we say, we created hip hop, can you please clarify and justify?
Yes. Sure. The way we would say it, and again, we're not caught up. We're not 5 and 6 year olds. I have to preface what I'm about to say with this statement. We're not 5 and 6 year olds. You call a 5 or 6 year old a dog, they start crying because in their mind they're not developed enough to realize that the word is not and the thing are not synonymous. The word points to the thing, and you see what I'm saying? All right. So if I'm a Spanish speaker and I say la puerta and you're an English speaker, you say a door, there's no argument, despite the fact we're using 2 different words to describe the same thing, right? Okay. So the common term is, it's the collective brain trust of Black people in America. See what I'm saying? That's the common term. In the Moorish side of Civil America, we would say it is the collective brain trust of the fallen Asiatic sons and daughters in North America. That's what we would say, right? And we also say there is still among us, the descendants of Africa, the descendants of the inhabitants of Africa, there is still much wisdom to be learned. We're demonstrating that every day in hip hop, creatively. We're not done contributing to civilization.
Yeah. Well, not well. I don't want to say anything. It's not contradictory. It's just to gain more understanding.
Yes.
Overstanding.
Yes.
Because you said Asiatic.
Absolutely.
And you said African.
Yes.
Right. And then my original question had to do with what we identify as Black and brown people. And their contributions to the thing we call hip hop.
Correct.
So first, let's get into, the Black and brown discussion.
Let's do it.
And then I want to get into the African Asiatic discussion.
I like it. Okay. This Black and brown thing is dope. Shout out to my brother Nat Turner, right? MC Nat Turner, Rashamed. Rashamed Ill. He's also Moorish American. That's my brother. 40 Bandits. Shout out to 40 Bandits. He and his and Zay Guevara. That was his rap partner back in the day. They was on the bus there one time. Zay Guevara. They did a song called Black and Latin Love. Right. That's what I want to shout him. But anyway, I'm a hip hop baby for real. But anyway, right. If we knew real history, not colonized history, but a decolonized history, there is no difference between Black and brown people other than language and a slight difference in skin tone. Dr. Ben, Yosef Ben Yakinen. Dr. Ben, and he's not the only one. Dr. Sultana Afros, that's another one. And there's others that have Dr. Hakim, Abdullah Hakim Quick. That's another. Those are 3 peer-reviewed scholars on anthropology and history. They all assert and all affirm that the first African slaves in the Americas did not come in 1619. They came 100 years prior, over 100 years prior. And not from the continent of Africa. They came from Spain. This is the number one reason what we're talking about right now. Hakim, I'm so glad you brought this. We brought this up as a discussion. This is the number one reason why Western civilization or world history taught in the Western world always overlooks the Spanish colonization of the Americas. This is why they overlook it. And the answer is very simple. Why do they overlook Spanish colonization of the Americas? Answer, because Spain was ruled for nearly 800 years by an African political power. There you go. Bottom line. So if Spain was here in the 1500s, who else was here? As a matter of fact, if Spain was here in the 1500s and Spain gained, I'm talking about Spain as present day Spain, gained its independence from its African rulers in the year 1492, who was here in the Americas before the Spaniards? Yeah. Okay. So, and linguistically, Spanish has over 2,000 Arabic words which is a consequence of what? African rulership in Europe. This is history. Okay. So a big part of our issues, how do you defeat a people, a unified people? Divide them. You divide them. That's how you defeat them. Yep. What did Europeans do? They were 6 different tribes. Yeah. And were killing each other. And at a particular point, they said, you know what? Let's create an artificial social construct called whiteness. And we unify under that, and then we divide everybody else. Absolutely. You Arabs are different from you Africans, and you Africans are different from you Latinos, and you... Okay, you see my point? And we accepted those teachings.
Crazy.
It's wild, bro.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, another point of clarification is really just, for overstanding.
Yes.
When we talk about the African rulers of Spain.
Yes.
Al-Andalus.
Yes, Al-Andalus.
Al-Andalus.
Yes, sir.
And they spoke Arabic, though.
Well, a couple of languages, but yes, Arabic, yes.
Right. And when we think Arab, we think somebody of the lighter persuasion.
Correct.
Right. Now, can we bring some clarity as to the sameness of that? Okay.
See, here's what's so dope about living in 2026. You remember in 1999 when the movie Matrix came out? And remember when they were taking over the government building, they were on top of the roof? And Neo asks Trinity if she could fly a helicopter. And what was their answer? Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay. And it said, okay, boom, she could fly, right? We can do that right now with our cell phones. Y'all can fact check me right now on the spot. See what I'm saying? So, Google a book called The Unknown Arabs by Dr. Tariq Berry, Berry. It's called The Unknown Arabs. And I want you to read the full title of the book for the audience.
The Unknown Arabs, clear, definitive proof of the dark complexion of the original Arabs and the Arab origin of the so-called Black Americans.
Bingo.
Damn!
Bingo.
The Unknown Arabs, clear, definitive proof of the dark complexion of the original Arabs and the Arab origin of the so-called Black Americans. Wow.
See, we think that, we're very familiar with European Ashkenazis appropriating the identity of Hebrews. We just we're not familiar with the fact that the same thing happened with so-called Arab culture. Think about it, people. Our brothers in the Sudan are simultaneously African and Arab. Figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now let's define Arabism. The term Arab just denotes a language group, people. It's not a race.
That's right.
But we've been socialized into believing it's a race. Okay. Brother Hakeem, I want you to do this really quick. Google, and the audience, Google these words, royal executioner of Saudi Arabia, and then hit images.
The royal executioner of
Saudi Arabia. And then hit images.
Images. Ooh.
Yeah, that's your Uncle Ray Ray.
Yeah, well, there's several. They got. Well, let me hit the one I think you want the people to see.
Yeah.
Saudi execution. Okay, wait. That's not. I'm trying to get it a nice.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Photo. All right, I'm just gonna have to use this one.
Sure. Yep, that's him.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pure Arab, people. Now, any scholar, right, on ethnicity or ethnology, right, will tell you, any scholar worth their salt in the field of ethnology will tell you that the Arab writers during the medieval era, medieval time, the Arab writers themselves considered dark skin as a badge of pure Arabism. That's a fact.
Here's a better picture.
Yep. That's a pure Arab, people. See? Of course, we're not showing that in the West, are we?
No.
Okay.
Wow.
Because a narrative, I was just saying this earlier today, when we're dealing with secrets and things of that sort, it's not really data or information that's kept secret. It is narrative control. It's narrative that's the secret. You see what I'm saying? I'll give an example, right? We're old enough to remember those days when a pastime with the family was we, get together and we put together one of those puzzles, those 2,000 piece puzzles of like a landscape or something.
For sure.
And somebody messes around and loses the box with the completed picture. It's problems.
It's problems.
Why?
You have context.
You no longer have narrative. You got it, bro.
It's context.
Right.
Yeah.
You see? That's the problem. So we can have data and info, but if somebody's already circumscribed the limits of our thinking, you see? So for instance, blackness, right, is directly associated, socially synonymous with what? Slave.
Yeah.
So when you hear about pre-Columbian Africans in America, automatically you revert back to the default. Oh, they must have been slaves.
Right.
How was Estevanico a slave when he was a scout for European Frenchmen and knew the lay of the land and the language of the natives?
Yeah, that's real.
You see? Yeah, we default back to the pre-programmed narrative. What do we have to do? We have to gain or regain a decolonized narrative on history.
Wow. Now, there's a talk, of course, you got the FBA's, Foundation for Black Americans.
Yes.
And you have, the indigenous communities of America.
Yes.
And then you have, folks who come from the Pan-African frame of thought, which tends to be more slave-oriented, our place here as descendants of slaves.
Right.
but then you have this small group of people who have the frame of thinking that there was a global empire of dark-skinned people who were not strangers to each other, which you kind of talk about.
Yes.
And I kind of wanted you to talk about that because, 24 Hours of Peace is peace, love, unity.
Unity, brother.
Unity.
So let's talk about that. See, even that shapes a narrative. The idea of unity shapes a different narrative. We've been taught to always do this. Watch me. In the West, separate and categorize, separate and categorize, separate and categorize. So we tend to think either or instead of both and.
Yeah, it's not either or. It's not this or
Thank
that.
you.
This and that.
It's this and that. Follow me. We should be familiar. If we're not, we can easily get familiar with Abu Bakr II. Okay, Abu Bakr II was the brother of Mansa Musa.
Musa, brother or uncle?
I'm not sure. I've always heard brother, but maybe he was the uncle.
Yeah.
I know he was the elder. I do know that.
Yes.
That's how Mansa Musa took the throne when he left. He led not one but 2 expeditions to the Americas.
And you're talking about like 20,000 vessels.
Crazy. Now watch this. And this is a rhetorical question. You can mull it over yourself, but follow me. So that took place in the 1300s. Okay. A little over 100 years, almost 200 years later. Okay. So now you've got Africans in the Americas in the 1300s. 200 years later, you got Africans coming from Spain and Portugal into the same area, and they meet the descendants of those Africans. Question, were they African or Native American? That goes back to the both and instead of either or.
Right. Well, one reason why I said Abu Bakr II was Mansa Musa's uncle is because Mansa Musa existed in the 1400s. Abu Bakr was in the 1300s.
Good point.
Right.
Good point.
But that's irrelevant to the idea that Africans had traveled to the Americas way prior to 1492.
Way prior. And you know what? Another thing that's solid evidence of that, the fact that nearly 30 years ago, when they did DNA testing on hair follicles of Egyptian pharaohs and mummies, they found traces of tobacco and coca leaf,
which is only found over here in South America.
Bingo.
Right.
Bingo.
So the Abu Bakr expedition wasn't a discovery, it was a rediscovery, or it was a reconnection of folks. Yes. And then we're taught in 1492, the Moorish Empire fell to the I guess it would be the Catholics.
Absolutely. It was Ferdinand and Isabella. Let me talk about that for a hot second.
Yes, please.
Because we measure time in cycle ages. What goes around comes around.
Yeah.
And nothing's new under the sun.
That's right.
Follow me. In the year 1477 and 1478, which was the time when Ferdinand and Isabella got married. You know what look up a book called The Dogs of God by James Reston Jr. You can find this in this book, what I'm about to say. You know what was being talked about? Also, by the way, we're talking about this was during the fall of Moorish rule, the fall of African rule in Europe. Our empire had broken up into separate warring kingdoms called taifas. So what had happened? We beat ourselves. And this was during the time of what was called in world history the Reconquista, meaning the Pale Europeans were coming together and unifying as we were falling apart. Granada was just the final nail in the coffin when Muhammad Az-Zaghal gave over the keys to Granada to Ferdinand and Isabella. But when Ferdinand and Isabella got married, that was the creation of the first modern nation state on the planet, Spain, because it was the merger of 2 kingdoms, Aragon and Castile. You know what the Pale European Christians called their marriage? The second coming of Christ.
Wow, you serious?
I'm dead. Same thing they're trying to say about our president. That's the book.
This okay, came up. Good.
Book is dope.
I want to just highlight it. So
look what it's called: The Dogs of God, Columbus, the Inquisition, and the Defeat of the Moors. This is how, quote unquote, black people were written out of world history. The erasure of this history right here that you're looking at. That's why there's the emphasis on the year 1619 and not 1492. That's why. To divorce us from world history and cut off our continuity.
Yeah, I tell people all the time that we sell ourselves short because our understanding of humanity is so short.
Myopic,
thank you.
Yeah.
That, you know, human beings, original man and woman, have been here for hundreds of thousands.
Oh my goodness. And we peopled the entire planet.
Yeah.
Yes. We peopled the entire planet. See? Yes. In ancient time, there was a band of population of Africoid inhabitants in between the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn, near the equator.
Right. Now, back to that word Africoid, African, Africa.
Yes.
Earlier, you called us Asiatics.
Yes.
And our understanding of the difference between Asia and Africa.
Yes.
Can you understand that difference or sameness, and
sure,
what's with the misunderstanding?
I absolutely. I can explain both. Okay. Here we go. Just like the term Arab, the term Asiatic is a language group. Nowadays, in present day anthropology and sociology and ethnology, they use the term Afro-Asiatic as corrective from European colonialist thought that made the divisions and separations. Follow me. Let's talk about that for a second. Look up a man named Charles Seligman, Seligman. Charles Seligman was one of the main proponents.
Spell his last name again, please. I'm sorry.
Seligman. Charles Seligman was one of the major proponents of something called the Hamitic hypothesis. Okay, I'm going to explain the Hamitic hypothesis in layman's terms. When Europeans carved up Africa, the Berlin Conference, right? Yep, there he is. When they carved up Africa and did so under the premise that African people, right, Negroes, were incapable of high civilization. What do you think they thought when they saw the Great Wall of Zimbabwe, or the pyramids, or the Temple of Karnak?
Before you go too far, because people are, of course, familiar with the Great Pyramids, but the Great Wall of Zimbabwe uses more stone than all of the pyramids.
That's a fact.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
In your mind's eye, the level of architectural brilliance.
Come on now.
The people who are more ancient than the people who built the pyramids.
Let's go to yeah, there you go. Okay. So, how do you explain that within the framework of white supremacy?
Aliens?
Well, that's what they do today. That's the modern day. That's modern day.
The 52 fake out.
Real talk.
Nah, bro. I got family members because they see my artwork. I got the Great Pyramid on there, right? They see it and they, oh man, don't you think the aliens built the pyramids?
Yo, bro,
how could they? I'm like, bro.
Let me tell you what this European said. This European ufologist said, or anthropologist said. He straight in an interview. He kind of, in a tongue-in-cheek way, but seriously, called out the ancient astronaut theory as inherently racist. He did. And he's European. He said, man, it's racist. He said, this is what he said. He said, think about it. In all the places where these aliens built all this monumental stuff, these are places that are inhabited by brown-skinned people.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I'm going to make a t-shirt that says aliens hate white people. They ain't built nothing for them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. So, but back to the Hamitic hypothesis. This is what they came up with to explain this away. Follow me. That any African people north of the Sahara were not Negro. Remember, the Negro is a European creation, people.
Yeah.
All right. They say anything above the Sahara is what they call a dark-skinned European or a Euro-African or a pastoral European.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
This laid the groundwork for the creation of the Middle East.
So Europeans aren't from Europe.
Let's just say it this way. Matter of fact, you're familiar with this book, Volume 1 and Volume 2, David McCritchie's book, Ancient and Modern Britons.
Okay.
Let them tell the story. David McCritchie, right, will tell you he's a Brit. And he wrote the book. And he said, yeah, we're not the original Britons either. How about that?
Yeah.
The original Britons, and now genetics state that.
That's right. Well, the reason why I made that point is that, there's, of course, Jacob's theory.
Of course.
And there's the idea that the people we call Europeans today are actually from Asia, and that they at some point migrated or were forced out into what we now call Europe. But they're not original to that area. That the original Europeans, of course, were people we would call Black. Black Britons, or Black French, or
absolutely
right. You mentioned Ashkenazis earlier.
That's right.
How they hijacked the concept of Jews.
Yes. Let's even with the whole let's quickly revisit the whole Arab thing. How did they how did they come to look the way they look now? Answer. Original pure Arabs enslaving Khazars and Persians.
Slavs.
That's how.
Right. So that slavery, but dark-skinned people enslaved whiter-skinned, pale-skinned people first.
Correct.
They learned it from us.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
That kind of dovetails into the whole idea that they create nothing. We create everything, good and bad.
And why they don't openly talk about that, even though they know it, and it's what fuels their rage. But they can't openly talk about it. Why? Because it defeats the whole premise of white supremacy. Because white supremacy sits on the illusion that they were always superior.
Yeah.
They can't admit that. There's a book, look up this book, Diplomatic Relations Between the United States and the Barbary Powers. Look that book up. Because that book talks about how Africans of the Barbary states, even up to the early 1800s, were depopulating whole European British islands of people. Yeah. Again, if you haven't heard this stuff before, it's because somebody controls the narrative and the scope of your thinking. Because if not, there'd be no way I could mention these things and you could pull it up on your computer right now.
I'm getting there.
Yes, sir. The author's name is Ray Irwin, IRWIN.
Oh, well, okay. StreamYard is bugging out on me a little bit. Bear with me. I don't think StreamYard likes us sharing this information. What's going on?
Oh.
You there? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. Your screen
I'm
froze. You're frozen on my end. Okay, now, okay.
1 2 1 2. Yeah, I'm still frozen. What's going on here? I'm plugged in. I got power.
Yep.
I see you fine. I'm trying to add this link. It's not cooperating with me, but I do have it up, ladies and gentlemen. It's called. Wait a minute. I think is it there? Did it work?
Yep. Diplomatic relations between the United States and the Barbary powers.
Yeah, it's not putting it up. I definitely have it right here. I see it. Yeah, 1776 to 1816.
1816. Ray Irwin.
Yep. All right, we're gonna lose that because I don't want to lose the whole stream. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah,
you
so with the Hamitic hypothesis, it laid the groundwork for institutionalized racism in America today. There's another paper. Google this one, audience. The title of the paper tells the whole story. The Iberian Roots of American Racist Thought. Ain't that something? The Iberian Roots of American Racist Thought. Meaning the whole color code class or caste system that we call race began as military conceits in a war in Spain and Portugal.
Wow.
Meaning slavery, again, here's something else to shock your to shock your narrative senses. The African transatlantic slave trade was a consequence of a war. And it later became commerce.
Explain.
Sure. Look up 1442. No. Pope Eugene. Here's a better thing to look up. Look up ILLUS, and then the second word is QUI. Ilias QA. Look that up. Tell me what it says.
It says, I'm gonna go to AI mode. Ilias Qui or QI?
Yeah.
Latin for of him who.
Yes.
Typically refers to Ilias Qui se pro divini.
Divini, that's right.
A papal bull issued by Pope Eugene IV in 1442.
1442.
Historical context. Issued in response to requests from Prince Henry the Navigator, it granted a plenary indulgence to all Christians who fought in a crusade against the Saracens under Portuguese leadership. This bull is historically significant because it effectively legalized expanding Portuguese raids on the West African coast, allowing the enslavement of non-Christian enemies of Christianity.
Yes. They were nice about it. What you just read, the Ilias Qui is the official order by the Roman Catholic Church to begin the African transatlantic slave trade. Right. That began it. Right there.
Now,
and guess what they called it? They called it a continued crusade against the Moors. Right. And it authorized the Portuguese order of Marian Christ. It was a military order to begin and expand raids on the west coast of Africa.
All right, the Saracens were Moors.
That's a fact.
Okay, yeah, it's just for the audience. I know what the Saracens are.
Yes, that's a fact.
So people know what the Saracens are.
Yes.
So there was a war between the Moorish Empire.
It was Crusades. It was the
Crusades. The Empire called the Crusades. And just, for our viewership's benefit, if you've ever seen the movie with Kevin Costner, Robin Hood, Kevin Costner, and Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman was a Saracen or Moor.
Yes.
And they exposed themselves in that movie because it showed you how far advanced the Moors, people we call black people, how far advanced they were relative to white folks, Christians at the time.
Right. It's a fact.
Yeah.
You got to see, to divorce us of that history, right? Mm-hmm. Once they felt comfortable in that they controlled our narrative, our scope of thinking, they could put it right in your face. You'll never put it together. Mm-hmm. You see? Look up, I'm gonna give you another name to look up. Look up this name, Al, that's A-L. And then the next name, the word is Ziryab, Z-I-R-Y-A-B, Al Ziryab. Look that up.
Here is just Ziryab.
Z-I, or just...
Al Ziryab was a 9th century polymath and tastemaker who revolutionized music, fashion, and social etiquette in Al-Andalus. Born Abul Hassan Ali ibn Nafi in Iraq.
That's right.
In Iraq. In 789, he was nicknamed Ziryab, Blackbird, for his melodious voice and dark complexion.
Bingo.
He famously fled the court of Baghdad for Cordoba in 822, where he became the chief entertainer and major cultural influence under Caliph Abd ar-Rahman.
So can you pause for a second? Spain. Pause for a second, quick, brother.
Yep.
He was born in Baghdad.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he looked like me.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Got to point that out. And he goes from Baghdad to where? Cordoba, which is where?
Spain.
During the medieval era.
Mm-hmm.
There he introduces to all of Europe, listen close, over 2,000 songs. He introduces to Europe the wearing of fine linen to dinner. He introduces the 3-course meal format of soup, main course, and dessert. He introduces drinking out of fine crystal instead of metal goblets. He introduces deodorant. He introduces toothpaste. He introduces, brother.
And we're talking about from 789 to 820. Well, he got to Spain in 822.
In other words, Western civilization was created by African Islamic people.
Now, you know what's crazy? Well, you said African Islamic, but he's from Iraq, so we got to get into that.
Yes.
And he's called the Blackbird, but these images here have him light skinned.
Exactly. Yeah.
See how they do? Well, nah, I got other images. They got him as a brother. I'm sorry. Yeah.
And all of this is evidence to what, people? That European psychology did a number on our perspective and narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Did a number on us. Hence, 2026, we fight harder amongst each other. FBA versus BIPOC versus ADOS versus Indigenous versus African versus Pan-African versus Moorish American. You see it?
Yeah. Everybody but versus the
right
cracker.
Right. You see the issues?
Uh-huh.
And it all comes down to having a colonized narrative on history and identity.
Wow.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Because nothing we just showed just now in the past half an hour fits the narrative we were born with, does it?
No, not at all.
See?
Not at all. Now, you know, Iraq.
Let's talk about it.
Which is in...
That's modern day.
Which is in Southwest Asia.
Yes.
Not the Middle East.
So there's an anthropological term. Shout out to my brother, Dr. Wesley Muhammad. That's the first person I heard it from. And when I heard it from him, I thought he created the term. He said, no. Anthropologists use this term. The term is Afrabia. Right.
Afrabia. Now, Iraq is not Arabia.
True.
In Arabia, in Arabia is not Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia wasn't invented until 1926.
Some would say by Ashkenaz.
No, I can tell you. Hold on. I can tell you. I can give you very specifics. January 8th, 1926. What took place then? Prior to the date I'm giving you, that area was not called Saudi Arabia. It was called the Hijaz. And it was run by a man named King Hussein. King Hussein refused to side with British intelligence. You all know the movie Lawrence of Arabia?
Yeah.
T.E. Lawrence, British spy, who befriended who? Abdul Aziz ibn Saud.
Right.
And that was the origin when they helped him gain power over King Hussein, and King Hussein was exiled. They renamed that area after the Saudi family.
What's interesting, I saw some history on Lawrence. What was his name?
Lawrence of Arabia, T.E. Lawrence.
T.E. Lawrence. That, I mean, he was tricked.
He was, by his own government.
By his own government. He was used to betray the original folks there.
His friendship that he had with King Saud.
Right. So, and I think that's a great analogy in how they do us, is that they use one that we accept, we embrace,
bingo,
we look at as like, you know, they can be trusted.
Yes.
And then as time goes on, you know, whether they know or don't know, they were actually, you know, somebody put in place to flip.
It's the rhetorical question: can you be an insurgent or a spy or an enemy and not realize it? Many of us who consider ourselves in the struggle for, you know, our people, how useful can we be with a colonized narrative of thinking? That means you're still plugged to the matrix. You're not unplugged.
Yeah. So, but back to Iraq.
Yeah.
You know, which is Southwest Asia.
Yes.
It's populated by Arabs, but it's its own nation state.
Yes.
And then we have next door to Iraq, we have Iran.
Iran.
Which is right now doing battle with the Great Beast.
And winning.
Kicking our ass.
And winning.
Well, let me just kicking ass. Let me not say our ass.
And winning, yes.
Kicking ass.
Yes.
And you know, it's just, I know we're jumping around.
No, it's good.
I think that it's all relative and
it's
relevant.
all relative.
It's all relative and relevant. But how we got here,
yes,
you know, with the current, you know, U.S. president,
yes.
I don't know how much of it is, you know, a plan that was hatched. You know, this plan was created years, maybe decades ago, and we're just at this stage of a decades-long plan.
That's a fact. What you just said, brother, believe it or not, is a fact.
Yeah. And all the pieces leading up to this, including Barack Obama's presidency,
absolutely,
was a step to where we are now. So what's your understanding of that? You agree?
Where we are right now, where America is right now, it didn't matter who was sitting in that presidential seat. We were going to arrive here anyway. It didn't matter. Make no mistake. And I can prove it very easily. It has nothing to do with personalities or people. It really doesn't. Okay. We were going to end up here no matter who was sitting in that seat. But it is a fact. It is a fact that the person in that seat sitting there now is making it happen at light speed. That's a fact. If it was anybody else in that seat, it may have happened slower, but it was still going to happen. And I can prove it. Here we go. I'm going to prove it to everybody. How did the United States become a unipolar world power? Number one, we inherited it. We didn't beat anybody for it.
No.
What was the financial capital of the world before World War II? London.
London.
Okay, but London got bombed to the Stone Age too during World War II.
Yeah.
Only country involved in the war that didn't was who? Us, United States. Matter of fact, our economy was way better after the war than it was before the war. Matter of fact, we had the most stable economy on the planet when everybody else's economy was bombed to hell.
Yeah.
And
because we were a strong producer of steel, and in the
we were in an industrial economy.
Right. And the
not
rest
a
of the
consumer
world,
economy.
And the rest of the world needed our products.
And we held over 75% of the gold. And we controlled the majority of the trade routes. So what did we do? Pulled the ultimate gangster move, or one of two ultimate gangster moves. We told the rest of the world, if you want to stabilize your economy, make the US dollar the standard world currency. That's called the Bretton Woods Agreement, 1944. That's how we can put 800 bases in everybody else's borders all over the world, control the International Monetary Fund to give loans to certain countries at certain rates, and then to protect their interests, well, we say protect their interests, we put a military base there. That's how we could sanction other nations back to the Stone Age, like what's happening with Cuba right now. This is how we're able to do it. Then, now mind you, it should have all come crashing down when we went off the gold and silver standard, when the dollar did. How did it not happen? We gangstered Saudi Arabia, the petrodollar.
The petrodollar, yeah.
We gangstered them, brother. And how were we able to gangster them? The state of Israel. The whole purpose, and this is why you see Israel on its way out, because it's outlived its purpose. The whole purpose of the state of Israel was to create perpetual unrest and perpetual disharmony in that area of the world, so that those Arab nations couldn't come together. All right. So the petrodollar kept our whole thing going, but now watch this. We went off the gold standard. See, this is where a lot of people get this wrong, so I'm gonna be able to explain it. Here we go. At the end of World War II, we were an industrial economy. What do we mean by that? We actually made stuff and actually sold stuff and got money for it like everybody else does. When we went off the gold standard, we already had everybody down on the Bretton Woods Agreement. And then with the petrodollar, and the number one commodity for countries around the world is what? Oil.
Oil.
All right. Everybody had to buy oil, but now they had to use US dollars to do it. So we got the whole world to subsidize our debt. And our dollars weren't backed by gold or silver anymore. So what were we doing? Just printing dollars, not producing nothing anymore. Guess what this was the beginning of? What we call globalized financial capital. Money out of thin air.
Yeah.
And that is what created the national oligarchy. What do I mean by a national oligarchy? People that don't care about their nation.
No.
They don't care about it. All they care about is emerging global markets.
The corporation becomes the new nation state.
You got it. You want to see what that really looks like? It's crazy. Have you watched on Hulu Alien Earth?
No.
Bro, go look at it.
Yeah.
That's how they start the series.
Wow. You know, there's they did a remake with LL Cool J, Rollerball, or
yes,
where the athletes played for the corporation.
Absolutely.
And the corporation basically was the nation state.
Yes.
The first one came out, I think, in the early 80s.
Yeah. I remember.
They did a remake in
Rollerball.
the late 80s. Yeah. And that was another hint as to where we were heading.
Yo, look at Peter Thiel and everything. We're there.
Yeah.
When BlackRock can openly talk about man, listen, we're there. We're there. When BlackRock's not a nation, they're not a government, but BlackRock openly tells our government, informs them how they're going to spend this and that and where and when. See, the United States is not a corporation, but the United States is captured by a national corporation.
Okay, all right, so we got to have this conversation because there's an ongoing mythology about the U.S. government is a corporation and it operates. The corporate has a president, and the Congress is the board of directors, and Okay. All right.
That's not true. It's
clarity.
what people use to try to prove it is a misreading and a misunderstanding of a particular United States code.
Okay.
Title 28, Section 3002. That's what they use. And it says, and I don't have it in front of me right now, but I can pretty much recall, there's a part of one of the sections where it says is giving definitions.
Title 28.
And it says, Title 28.
Section 3002?
Yes. What's the title that it shows?
U.S. Code 3028, U.S. Code 3002, definitions, Cornell Law. Let me go to AI mode. Provides a legal definition for the Federal Debt Collection Procedures Act.
Stop right there. There's your context. Context is king, people. But for many of us, context is a moving target. So watch. In that code, it gives definitions, and it says for the purposes of this code in this subsection, the phrase, and it puts in quotes, United States means a federal corporation. Then it says B, an agency or instrumentality of the United States. But what is the context? Debt collection, federal debt collection. What does that mean? Let me explain it, people. It means that when the United States, right, or an agency, let me be more specific, an agency under contract with the United States, which is at least 47 agencies, when they have to take somebody to court for debt collection, they are represented as the United States. That's what it's saying. Plain and simple.
All right. You know what? I need you to repeat that.
Okay. Let's go back.
Because again, people are going, "Oh, the United States is a corporation."
No, but
saying,
it doesn't.
No,
go ahead.
No, people say, not this.
I know. Now, when it mentions United States and it mentions a federal corporation, it doesn't say the word is. It says the phrase means.
Wait a minute. Let me see. Provides the legal definitions for the Federal Debt Collection Procedures Act. This section establishes the specific meaning of terms used throughout Chapter 176 of Title 28, which governs how the federal government collects money owed to it.
That's it. And it says, for the intent and purposes of this subsection, the phrase United States means a federal corporation or an instrumentality, agency, etc. of the United States.
Okay. So there's a corporate entity that's created to function in this venue.
For the United States.
For the United States. Got it. Understood. Doesn't mean that the United States of America is a corporation.
Think of it like this.
When you created a corporation to act
you got it, brother.
Okay.
Yes. You got it. They're operating on behalf of.
Much like me, the physical person, has a corporation that works on behalf of me when we go into
you got it.
That venue.
You got it.
No, it's not me.
Exactly. Despite the fact that in that court proceeding, they say HAKIM Green versus. See? Or I get hauled into court for committing a crime, allegedly.
So the understanding that I'm trying to glean from this is that the United States of America, the government, is a living entity. It's a natural entity. It's a growth of the natural persons of the natural, all these different terms and definitions.
Yes.
But these fictions are created in order to do business.
And why? Because they provide what? Indemnification. That's why the body, Latin corpus means body, right? That's why you have a body surrounding your brain, because your brain can't survive in the open air. So it provides what? Your body, your skull provides what? Indemnification for your brain. That is the purpose of incorporating, is to provide indemnification for the incorporators.
Right.
Protection.
we had a conversation in this lane before, and you just you explained to me how the United States came into being as a way to also disprove this idea. And I don't know if you remember it, if you could go back to it and say this again, like how the United States comes into being by the will of the people who.
Oh, very easily. Very easily. Here we go. In the American system of government, how does it operate? What is it called? It's called a Republican form of government. Well, what is Republican form of government? Representative government. Here we go. In the American system, who rules? Answer, the people. How do they rule? By way of their elected representatives. That's how. It's representative government.
There was an actual law, statute, code that you mentioned that
Peace to the God.
proved that idea that what brings the United States of America into being is not a corporate. It was ratified. It's a law that had to be ratified to bring the thing into existence. It wasn't a corporate filing. It wasn't a.
Well, actually, okay, I'm not sure if this is what I said, but now what you're saying now, this is what's coming to me to say. And this is actual history. The 13 colonies, the last thing that had to happen for them to be recognized as an independent nation called the United States of America is that they had to be recognized as such by another nation.
Morocco.
Bingo.
Treaty of Peace and Friendship.
That's what did it. That is what did it. That is what did it. And that's history.
Right. And the importance that, talk about the importance of it being Morocco as the one who actually did that.
Oh, wow.
Recognize this new nation.
Well, the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, okay, we have to just give context to the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. It goes back to what we were saying about that book by Ray Irwin. What was happening? 13 colonies and other Christian nations couldn't sail the high seas without us snatching up their ships and enslaving the occupants. That's what was happening. Morocco was the first of the Barbary powers to say, all right, that's enough. We won't do that to y'all no more. That's what happened. Morocco was the first of the Barbary powers. Now watch this. In the Treaty of Tripoli, that was another Barbary power. Barbary is an Anglican corruption of the word berry, Berber.
Berbers,
which are who? Northwest Africans.
Africans. Libyans, Carthaginians.
Yes. Tripoli. Tunisians. There you go.
Algerians.
Yes. Yes. The people that nowadays the European psychology doesn't want to say are Africans.
Yeah.
Even though it's in Africa, like Egypt. See that? All right. So in Tripoli, Thomas Barclay was the ambassador for the Treaty of Tripoli. One of the things, and this MAGA hates this. You bring this up, it's like throwing light on a vampire. When Thomas Barclay himself said, since the United States is in no way founded on the Christian religion, there should be no issue between us and Muslim or Muslim nations.
Muslim.
Yeah, they can't stand that. You bring that up, brother, it's like, bro, man, oh man. They don't like hearing that one.
Right.
Because the United States is not a Christian nation, despite the fact that Eurocentrism in America enjoys a social majority relative to Christianity.
Yeah. Now, in that, and we talk about white evangelical Christians.
Yes.
Who are big on Zionism.
Christian Zionists.
Though Jewish Zionist, Israeli Zionist.
Zionism is literally, Zionism is a twin of global Euro imperialism and racism. It's a twin of white supremacy. Flat out. Flat out. That's what it is.
Not even a twin. It is.
It is that.
It is that.
Yes.
It is that. And
Yes.
Israeli Zionists really don't take too kindly to white Christian nationalists or Christianity, period. No. They spit on them, actually.
But guess what? Here's the crazy part. Here's the flip side. Christian Zionists aggressively support aspects of Jewish Zionism. They say, yes, those are the chosen people. And yes, we have to do this, that, and the third so that Jerusalem is looked at a particular way so that we could bring about the second coming of Christ. But you know what they say after that? The Christian Zionists? Oh, first thing he's going to do is kill all the Jews. Oh, they're crazy, bro.
Yeah.
They're crazy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And all of this is important because of the stand that Iran has taken and the ass kicking it is serving out to Western powers.
Yes.
And, but us living here in the wilderness of North America, we have to bear the brunt of it regardless of our political, religious, spiritual affiliations.
Kind of.
Well, okay.
Kind of. And I'm going to say why. And this goes back to identity. This goes back to identity. In the old world, citizenship in a nation is based on blood, ethnicity. To be an Italian citizen or a citizen of Italy, I got to be
Italian.
Right. In the New World, see, the New World Order started in 1492, people, not when President Bush said it on TV.
Okay.
In the New World, in America, to answer up to the constitutional standard, I have to adopt an idea. That idea is encompassed in the Latin phrase "e pluribus unum." One nation made up of people from many different old world connections. I have to adopt that idea. You see what I'm saying? Which means every American citizen, including Native Americans, have two flags. Flag of their birth, United States flag, Star Spangled Banner, and the flag of their ancestry, their old world connection. That old world connection shows their contribution to the new world, their contribution to American society. Now think about how even European Jews use national origin. They become the American conduit for their old world connection to gain access to American markets.
All right, so I'm confused because Ashkenazi Jews, many of them, their homeland is in
Poland,
Ukraine, so forth and so on.
Germany.
Though they would like to use that blue and white flag with the Star of David
as
their old world flag.
You're right.
But that old world flag is dumb new. There's nothing old
Listen,
about
I
it.
agree with you. But I'm just using the example of
right
having an old world connection. See, when we're cut off from our old world connection, we don't have that access. So we're stuck in the barn. We don't have eyes as what's going on geopolitically from a decolonized perspective, where everybody else does, or at least they have access to it.
Yeah.
You see my point now?
Yeah. No, I absolutely. When I said I was confused, I just meant
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Specifically to them. Like they are such a new creation, and the thievery is just astronomical proportions. It's what they do.
But at this point in time, this is the blessing. In my Kung Fu style, we have a movement like this. And the classic name for the movement is to move aside the weeds to see the snake. The philosophy behind that is that anytime you see the snake, it's a time for celebration because you could see him.
You could see him. You could defend yourself.
This is where we are with Zionism. See what I'm saying? This is where we are with Zionism. This is where we are with white supremacy.
Yes, out in the open.
Okay, follow me. I gotta cut out in a few, but real quick.
Man, I got another question for you.
No, that's okay. I'll take it. But real quick.
2 more, actually.
You got more and more Europeans in America saying, you know what? Don't you black people stay home. Don't come out and protest because you're not safe.
Yeah.
We'll go out and protest.
Yeah.
And then what ICE was doing, gunning them down in the street, and then the outrage, like and we're looking at them like, why? Because for us, that's any given Tuesday. Shout out to Ahmaud Arbery. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Eric Garner.
And brother, we weren't going out anyway. You know why? Because something in the back of our minds collectively told us all, sit this and out.
Yeah.
You know why? Here we go. And why they're bugging out? Follow me. European America is recognizing or coming face to face with Jim Crowism.
Yeah. So, you know, I sent you that song, Commentating.
I didn't get a chance to look because I've been crazy all day, bro.
All right,
go ahead, talk to me.
No, hold on. I'm just going, hold on.
All right, do it.
Get it in.
Do it.
We just gonna play it.
Yeah.
Cause I needed some feedback from you because when I wrote this, I was thinking about you.
Yes, sir.
So I was like, come on, man, God, I got it.
Yo, again, shout out to Newark, New Jersey. I don't know if the audience knows this, but the Moorish American movement was founded by Noble Drew Ali in Newark, New Jersey.
See?
As a matter of fact, I can give you the street name, 181 Warren Street, Newark, New Jersey.
Right there, right downtown. Yes.
And the first temple, official temple, was at the corner of 12th and Rutgers.
It's crazy. Newark is a very historic place, and the leader in so many of our cultural, political movements, Moorish Science Temple being one of them, you know, it's just amazing. So it's an honor and a privilege to have launched 24 Hours of Peace in Newark, New Jersey.
Newark, New
I got
Jersey.
a song called Commentating.
Let me hear.
And okay, let's get into it.
Yep.
Ciao. This is HAKIM GREEN.
Woo!
Broadcasting live and direct. Channel 9. Commentating, illustrating, description giving, adjective expert. Shout. When you can't tell them nothing, don't. When it's time for stand for something, they won't. Y'all don't usher in a monster and is here to let it burn. Like discern a new dimension, a new reality I can't discern. When inside the temple underground like the worm. So I'm doing ritual, smoking ashes out the urn. Everybody took a turn. The court was adjourned. Stepping over bodies, no one concerned. It doesn't feel good, I break right out the place. Wind cuts like a knife. Ice on my face, the Iceman cometh. His cup overrunneth. It's like I'm on safari, anything wild like the Hunnits. They squad bring the terror, like Joe out to punish. Mash people like chickpeas, cream off the hummus. It's rubbish. Another politician getting punished. Caught up in the files with some girls looking youngish. Commentating, illustrating, description giving, adjective expert.
This is crazy.
Open your eyes. I said I'm commentating, illustrating, description giving, adjective expert. Saying, I'm saying. Off the magic dragon from the land of Galilee. See how they do, niggas? That's how it be. Right. Reality, maybe now they can see. Race was just a tool, now you can come down next to me.
Come on now.
Automated, algebraic, formulated, coordinated with intent to leave us all subordinated. The dream is overrated. Time to orchestrate it. Each one is how we circulate it. Organized to take it, yo, where Brooklyn at? Underground in the tunnels doing the knowledge calling cats. I did this for Jamil Amini, taught me how to rap. Yelling free Mumia till they bring that brother back. Right to the earth, but I like my toast when it's French. They stingy like the Grinch. The Moors pulled them out the stench, put them down with culture. They gave thanks to Willie Lynch. These crackers must be crazy if they think we about to flinch. Commentating, illustrating, description giving, adjective expert. Yeah. You see what it is? Open your eyes. I said I'm commentating, illustrating, description giving, adjective expert. I said I'm commentating. Yo, rest in peace, Keith Porter Jr. Illustrating, Alex Brady, Renee Good. Come on, let's go.
Come on now.
Description given, adjective expert. Rest in peace, everybody slain by police brutality. Everybody slain by ICE.
That's mean, bro. That's mean. That's mean. First and foremost, I gotta say this, and you know, I'm forgive me if I'm preaching to the choir, to the audience. Hakeem Green knows the rules to hip hop. There's rules to it, people.
Why you say that?
He knows the rules, right down to the sample, bro. Shout out to Malcolm McLaren. Yo,
Actually, no, that's not Malcolm McLaren.
I mean, not
that's
Malcolm.
That's the Tom
Tom.
Genius of Love.
Yeah,
and of course the hook
love.
Is Tila Rock. It's yours. I'm commentating, illustrating.
Shout out to Tila Rock.
But I said, Puff the Magic Dragon from the land of Galilee. See how they do, niggas? Dude, that's how it be.
That's how it be.
Black reality. Maybe now y'all can see race was just a tool. Now you can come down next to me.
Come on.
Algorithm automated, algebraic, formulated, coordinated with intent to leave us all subordinated. Time orchestrated. Each one teach is how we circulate it.
That's right.
Organized to take it. Yo, where Brooklyn at? Underground in them tunnels doing the knowledge, calling cap. But you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, come on,
bro. What am I talking about?
Come on, bro.
You don't know what I'm talking about?
Cap?
I said underground. Where Brooklyn at? Underground in them tunnels doing the knowledge, calling cap. Underground in them tunnels.
In the tunnels.
Them Hasis in the tunnels doing rituals. I do this for Janella Meany taught me how to rap. I'm yelling free Mumia until he brings.
Nah, I didn't catch that. I didn't catch that one.
Because in the first verse, I said, when you can't tell them nothing, don't. Because when it's time to stand for something, they won't. Y'all done ushered in a monster, and he's here to let it burn, like discern a new dimension, a new reality I can't discern. Went inside the temple underground like the worm. Saw him doing rituals, smoking ashes out the urn. Saw him doing rituals. A new dimension.
Got you. You're right. I didn't catch that. I flew over the fence, bro. That flew over the fence.
Yeah, little hats.
Oh wow.
And then of course I said more. The Moors put him down with culture.
Yep.
They paid us back with Willie Lynch.
Bro. See, again, that's a ode to decolonize history.
Yeah.
The what happened to us, again, like I was saying earlier, the slave trade was a consequence of losing a war.
That's important. That's important to identify for our viewers out there.
Yeah.
That the slave trade was a consequence of losing
a war
that then turned into commerce.
That's a fact.
But we are a product of a war that was waged.
Exactly.
For us to understand it, put it in context, because the war actually still goes on. It hasn't stopped.
You're looking at the Crusades right now with MAGA.
Yeah.
The Confederates are in the White House.
Right.
You see, now watch you. The names change, but the spirit stays the same. The Reconquista was vengeance to get Europe back from Africans. Hold on. When they did, they created a heaven, a temporary heaven on earth for themselves, whiteness, and made it and sat it on top of us, blackness. Okay, and then we see it rear its ugly head in America when we're legislated out of the normal social fabric, culminating with what? The Civil War. When the Confederates ceded away to try to preserve the peculiar institution, slavery. And they refused to recognize our humanity. Lincoln didn't free no slaves. Lincoln utilized the slave issue to preserve the Union and punish the Confederates.
Not really, but yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, we really wanted to punish him. Should have had heads.
Right. Oh, exactly. Well, the idea was to preserve the Union. But see, this is what we mean by punish. Punish was to bring them back into the Union. You see what I'm saying? That's what happened. And the Confederates never stopped fighting. They never stopped fighting. They've been fighting since then. The neocons are the Confederates. The Dixiecrats are the Confederates.
Yeah.
I need you to look this up. I'm going to get off in a second, but I need you all to look this up. Look up these two organizations. One's called Seven Mountain Mandate. The other one is called New Apostolic Reformation. Look up Seven Mountain Mandate real quick.
Seven Mountain Mandate is an evangelical dominionist framework urging Christians to seize influence over 7 key societal spheres: family, religion, education, government, media, arts and entertainment, and business, to impose biblical values and prepare for the return of Jesus. Emerging in the 1970s, it aims to replace secular influences with Christian leadership.
Look at some of the key figures of Seven Mountain Mandate on that same page.
Key beliefs and goals. The 7 mountains. Proponents believe believers must infiltrate and control 7 areas of culture: education, government, media, business, arts and entertainment, family and religion. Dominion theology. The core belief is that Christians are tasked with taking dominion over the earth, governing society according to biblical principles. Cultural transformation. The goal is to bring kingdom culture to earth by ensuring Christian values dictate policy and cultural trends. Spiritual warfare. Many adherents, often part of the New Apostolic Reformation,
right,
view this as a fight against demonic forces that currently control these sectors.
Okay, the people that are involved in both these organizations are now in the White House. Guess what they are? More specifically, they're members of the Heritage Foundation and the Crafted Project 2025.
Yeah, Russell Vaught.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Stephen Miller.
Yes.
Yeah. They're
in the White House, people. This is the Crusades.
Yeah, absolutely. And we don't know what time it is. Wake up. Brother, I got to bring you back on because I wanted to talk more about Noble Drew Ali.
Sure.
Right. And I also, wanted to address, Bambaataa, seen as though he was a proponent of Moorish science up until recently. Well, he passed away, but up until he had his allegations.
He was introduced to Moorish science by a good brother of mine in Harlem, HAKIM Bey. That's who introduced him in Zulu Nation to Moorish science.
Yeah.
But and just being honest, he became interested in it for certain specific reasons. So he was in and then he was out.
Okay.
That's the truth.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, we're gonna have you back on because there's so much to talk about, and you got your finger on the pulse of right information.
I'm trying, brother. I'm trying. I can't say I'm striving for it.
Yeah, it's always a work in progress. There's always more work to do. There's always more to learn.
Yes.
There's never enough to know. The person who knows it all actually knows nothing.
For sure, bro. That's a fact.
Right. So yeah, we're striving. Yeah, but it's good to have you on and
bro. Anytime, brother. Anytime, anytime you want me on, let me know. I'm there.
All right, absolutely, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. And we didn't get to talk about martial arts. That's another conversation I need to talk to you about. The importance of martial arts and building discipline and helping you to kind of craft, how you move outside of the martial arts temple. You carry that spirit, that knowledge, that energy with you outside. So I want to.
We believe in this is a West African tradition that we carry it over here. Embodied knowledge. It's not enough to know it intellectually. It's got to be on your hand.
Show and prove.
Yeah, show and prove. There you go. Embodied knowledge. We be the message that we bring. We just don't talk about it.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
My brother.
Thank you so much, brother. Salute to the audience.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Good luck.
All right.
Yeah, y'all see what it is. The HAKIM Green Show. We're going to keep more programming like this coming at you so we can discuss topics that are happening in the world from definitely a hip hop perspective, but from a perspective that's rooted in real knowledge and information. And with that said, we out of here, y'all. On Wednesday, I have a special guest, Jazz Young, former executive at Def Jam Records. And we're going to talk about the history of Def Jam, some of the phenomenal projects she's been a part of, and in what she's currently got going on with her ventures in Africa, bringing music and technology to our brothers and sisters in Africa. And so check in with us on Wednesday at 8:30, the HAKIM Green Show. And don't forget Madism Sports, Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern, Madism Sports, where we talk about how LeBron James is the GOAT. You know what it is. Peace, y'all.